guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yvonne Princess Shabango. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and voila, you're part of the graceful, the beautiful, and the wonderful family. We are back again with another video, and we are doing a book review. You guys know that Sundays are for reviews, and today we're talking money, all things money. We're reviewing Be Your Own Financial Advisor by Warren Ingram. So today's review is going to be short and straightforward because I need you guys to get a copy of this book. This is not a book that you read once. I have committed to reading it at least every 2 months because I want to make changes, right? And because I'm going to be implementing these changes step by step, I need to go back and remind myself. So basically, this is a financial book, a book that helps you plan your finances accordingly, a book that will help you make the wrong sorry guys, I'm so used to making wrong financial decisions, make the right financial decisions, right? So my biggest takeaway, okay, so big question we always ask ourselves: why did I get this book? I didn't get it for myself. Again, my friend got it for me as a birthday present because we are like in our mid-20s. That's the time. I mean, you should start as early as possible, but I think that's the time where most people take their finances seriously. They're by mid-20s. So my friend was like, hey, you turning what? 25? Let me just gift you with this book, right? So he gifted me this book and I kept it untouched for a very long time. But in the year 2024, I was like, I want to be in my bag. I want to be in my money. So Warren Ingram really has helped me in so many ways, right? So the first thing he does, he defines the difference between being financially free and being wealthy, right? So many of us, we don't even have wealth. We don't even have financial freedom. So not having financial freedom is the inability to be able to live a financially stable life. Basically, you are consumed or enslaved to debt. Everything you do is through debt, or all the monies that you get, you have to pay back to debt, right? So yeah, this is such a nice book. That's the first thing he does. He actually explains that we need to make sure that we start our journey as early as possible, our journey to financial freedom. And it's achievable. It's very much possible. But you really need to be disciplined, right? And then he says one of the reasons why we need to prioritize financial freedom, which is very true. If you're not financially free, you succumb to jobs you don't like. If you want to actually work for a job that you really like, you need to be financially free, because if you don't like the job, your boss is treating you bad and it's not a good environment, you are able to actually pack your things and leave, right? But if you are not financially free, you are staying there and sucking it up because you feel like you need to pay your bills, you need to get things done. So he says if you want to live a fulfilled life, you have to be financially free. Then your decisions don't evolve around the money you have in your bank account, but they evolve around your well-being. So he teaches us that. So try by all means to pursue financial freedom. That way all the other areas in your life will flourish, because your decisions are not just based on lack or desperation, but your decisions are from a sound, abundant place, and you make decisions that are well and good for you, right? And then also he says you can quit anytime. If you've got financial freedom, you can quit your job at any time. You don't have to worry, because you know that you have enough to sustain you until you actually get another job, right? And then he shares with us, like, these are rules that you need to always remember, guys. If anything from this book, you need to remember these rules. Rule number 1, be free of bad debt at all times, right? Be free from bad debt. So bad debt is like your cell phone contract. We are guilty of all of that. I'm guilty of that. And right now I'm busy fighting with my cell phone contract provider, because they're doing things there. They're actually stealing. Like, they're doing things there. They're actually stealing. Excuse me, guys. They're doing things there. They're actually stealing money, like 2 rands, 5 rands. So I'm busy fighting with them. And I've realized that, like, these little contracts that we go into, they actually make us waste money, and most of the time it's money we don't have. So that's bad debt. Debt you have to get furniture, to get laptops, appliances. Don't go into debt for clothing. That is considered bad debt. You'd rather save up and buy those things cash, right? And then he also says, I don't mean bad debt as in debt written off by companies, right? And then number 2, he says, rule number 2, he says it's important to build an emergency fund that you can use in an event of financial emergency. I'm busy right now trying by all means necessary to build up an emergency fund, guys, because I don't have any. but now at least I've put 200 rand. It's something, it counts, because I realized that we walk around with the arrogant assumption that we are going to be okay even tomorrow, but we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You might find yourself in an emergency where you need to quit your job because you have other commitments that you need to attend to, right? So it's very important that it's very important that you ensure that you start your emergency fund. It doesn't have to start big, right? So then he recommends that your emergency fund must be at least 15% of your per annum. So it must actually sustain you at least for 6 months, right? But you have to start small, commit to something small, and commit to it for a lifetime, right? Make sure that you're disciplined, right? And then he says, note that this emergency fund is not an investment. It's actually an emergency fund, right? So we tend to think because we're saving, we mix our savings, we mix our investments, we mix the money that you keep paying back to the credit card, and then you claim you have money and then you keep eating it. We do that, but he says those things are separate. You need to have a separate emergency fund. You need to have a savings account, and then you need to have investments, right? And then I'm going to talk about the type of investments that you can actually be part of as the video goes on, right? And then number 3, he says always spend less than you earn. Try to save at least a 15% of your total income, at best minimum 10%, right? Also because we don't earn the same, so it's always important to look at our obligations. But whatever you do, always make sure that you're saving, guys. Even if it's 10 rand, even if it's 5 rand, make sure that you are saving something for rainy days, or even if it's not for rainy days, just for something like so that you can be secured, right? And then rule number 4, build your income generating assets so that they will eventually pay for your expenses in future. So don't be quick to want things that like money or investments that you can eat right now. Like you're gonna eat the investment right now, and you feel like if you can't access the investment now, it's not your money, whatever the case may be. It's important to look at longevity, right? Look at it from a perspective of longevity. Look at the fact that I'm going to invest for the next 10 years. At least I'll be able to quit my job, or at least I'll be able to do other great things. But many of us, I will speak for my age mates, we are a generation that is full of instant gratification. We want things that work now. If a person tells you invest into ETFs, 1,000 rand monthly, you don't want, because you feel like, when am I going to get my money? But if somebody says put 1,000 rand, you're going to get 100k next week, you do that. And what you don't realize, yes, it might happen within that short space of time, but it's not sustainable. Eventually you lose out. Eventually you're scammed, right? So it's always important that you make sure, by all means necessary, that you are investing in the right places, that when you are investing or saving your money, you're actually looking at long term. Don't just look at now. So build your asset generating investments, right? Start early. Go into shares, get easy equities, get a financial advisor if you feel like it's too hard, right? Those are the 4 rules that are important. Build your income generating assets as early as possible. Always spend less than you earn. Stay away from bad debt. And then make sure that you build an emergency fund, right? That's very important. So it's always important to start from wherever you are. Start as little as you can, because we don't earn the same, right? If you earn 5,000 rand, save 250. That's okay, as long as you're disciplined. Every month you put in your 250. By the end of the year, it's going to be 1 point something. If that money is in easy equities, sometimes if the market is doing well, your money escalates. You get more. Actually, guys, normalize using compound interest to your advantage. Right now, I am on my journey to becoming a millionaire, darling. It's gonna happen in 13 years, but I'm so patient. You know how it's gonna happen? You guys can hop on and join me 13 years later. We're going to come back to this video and actually affirm that we have done it. So Warren Ingram says, if you want to be a millionaire in the next 13 years, you need to at least put 1,000 rand into investments, and make sure you do it every month. And then make sure that you don't withdraw it. And then every year you increase it by 15%. it's going to happen. I'm going to test his theory. And I want to be able to leave the tell and say, hey, Warren, I actually did what you said in your book, and here we are. I'm a millionaire, not for my salary, not for my business, but just for my investment. So guys, invest. You know, one thing that I love, especially about easy equities, you can put as little as 50 Rand. Start buying shares. Instead of people buying you bogus gifts for your birthdays or whenever something good happens, tell them, like right now, I was saying, if you want to buy me a gift, please, exclusive books voucher, because I'm in my era of just reading as much as I can, right? And shares, equity, nothing else. Whether it's 20 Rand shares, whether it's 50 Rand, 200 Rand, but let's put my gifts into equity. So you guys can do that the same as well. If you can't invest by yourself, tell people, guys, if you want to buy me gifts, buy me shares of any amount, and you keep on buying. Before you know it, 5 years has passed and you've got a good amount for you to do something, whether you're saving for a house or you're saving for a car or whatever. He advises against saving for a car or holiday, but if that's what you want to do, it's your money after all, you can do that. But make sure that you have this goal that's attainable. You start a small goal, achieve it, and then you keep on setting up more goals. Guys, we have to be in our bags, we have to be in our money. That's how I intend on becoming a millionaire in the next 13 years. I might do it before the next 13 years because I'm going to be very aggressive in my investments and stuff like that. But if you're using a slow pace where you're starting from 1,000 and then you increase by 15% every year, you're likely to achieve it within 13 years. If you want to be aggressive like me, we can aim for 8 to 10 years, right? So yeah, that's right. That's what's up, right? And then also he tells us that one of the best investments that we can put our money into is exchange trade funds, right? So these are ETFs. That's what I was referring to previously, right? So basically, let me just read you what it says. What are ETFs? Because I saw the other day on Instagram, somebody was asking me what ETFs are, so I didn't answer them. So I'll answer them now. So ETFs are exchange traded funds that you trade on the stock market like an ordinary share, but they consist of a range of underlying investments. Most ETFs are based on an index. For example, the oldest ETF in South Africa is the Satrix 40. I actually invested in Satrix 40 as well, and the tracks which tracks the top 40 companies of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the JSE Top 40, and is made up of 40 largest companies on the stock market. But instead of buying each company individually, you buy one ETF which owns shares in different companies. So ETFs are also safe, very safe for amateurs like us, like Otina, so they just entered into the investment industry. So if you want to be safe, by all means, get yourself ETFs. ETFs always do great because you are likely not to lose much. If you lose, you're likely not to lose much because they own shares in various companies. So if one company is not doing well, you still get dividends from other companies because they're still doing well. So I highly recommend ETFs. Like, guys, I'm in it. You guys know that when I go into stuff, I want to go in with you guys because guys, it's important. You know, my word this year was let go of control. But if there's two things that I know God is compelling me to work on, it's my finances. God has forced me to actually say, you are going to pay your tithe. And I've done just that. And I'm committing to do that the rest of the year. God has said you're going to be in your health, your skin, you're going to drink water, you're going to do everything possible. I'm committed to doing that, as well as with money, you know, because if God is going to give you a vision, he must know that you are disciplined. He must know that you're going to be able to sustain it. So what this book also was teaching me is actually calling me out. This thing of saying, any small need, you want to use your credit card. Any small need, you want to get a loan. Sometimes things can pass you by. Just say you don't have money and keep it moving, right? And then this is the theory. Right, let's make money, guys. Let's become millionaires. So he says the wonders of compound interest. Even a small amount can grow if you understand how compound interest work. For example, if you put 1,000 Rand into an ETF and you increase your investment by 10% every year, you could have 100,000 within 6 years. It will then take you only another 13 years to make $1 million. Right, so basically it's going to take us 17 years, but so the first 6 years you make 100,000 if you put 1,000 Rand every year, and you're actually increasing it by 10%. But I think I'm going to increase it by 15%. It depends on your capabilities. I'm going to increase it every year by 15%, right? Because obviously we get increases we expand in business and all of these things. So the more I do well in my finances, I'll increase it by a larger percentage. But always make sure, however you increase it, it's something that you can commit to every single month, right? Then he says it's going to take you another, after you've made your first 100,000 rand, then it takes you another 13 years to make a mil, because you have nothing to lose. After all, it's your money, right? And then so then he tells you that, remember that your first million is the hardest to create. Once you've made your first million, it will only take you another 5 years to make your next million, then only 3 years, a million after that. So the first million is hard to make. So it's going to be important that we're committed with discipline. Once we make our first million, it takes 6 years. After, now you're 2 million down, third million, it takes you 3 years. After that, it might even take you 2 years to make that mil, right? So always make sure that you're putting into investments. I'm going into it. And then another advice that we didn't ask for, he talks about specializing. Like, it's important, if you're going to make money, if you're going to invest in yourself, if you're going to grow, it's important that you specialize in your career, whatever that looks like for you. Like, I'm one person who says I want to grow, right? Also, I believe in change and moving around a lot. But when I read this, it told me that sometimes, not to say you have to stick it out for so long, but don't leave until you're so good at something. Let people look for you because of something. If people are going to say, we need Yvonne to speak at an event, if she's not coming, we're not doing the event, then know that you've polished your skill enough. You've specialized in how you articulate yourself and in how you do things. So specialization is imperative. Don't be a mixed masala. Yes, be versatile, but have that one thing that people know that only you in the industry. Okay, even if it's not only you, but you are part of the few in the industry that can do it so great and so good, right? And then sometimes, don't always be too quick to sell your time, guys. Your time is your biggest commodity, right? And because it's your biggest commodity, you must have independence. You must be able to own it. And being able to own it means you must be able to take jobs. And I'm not saying people shouldn't work hard. Hear me and hear me out. Work hard, right? But always remember that job you're taking, can it give you enough time to be able to start up your own thing, to be able to build up your own empire and stuff like that. And also, when you look at financial matters, he tells us that it's imperative to persevere. It's imperative to stick it through. It doesn't matter what's going on, but stick it through. And then also, he advises us, buy things cash. Like I said earlier, whatever you do, you don't have to get debt for everything. Buy things cash. He says one of the debts that he can say, okay, go ahead, is if you are getting a car or a bond, that's acceptable, right? And then he tells us it's imperative to budget as much as you can and stick to the budget. And also, what's going to help you stick to the budget is that set a budget that's realistic. Don't set a budget based on other people's assumptions or based on other people's salaries. Look at your finances honestly, so right, once you've done so, make sure that you build a budget that will work for you, that is tailor-made by you from a very honest place, right? And then it's important to build it up and balance it out. Many of us, when we start saving or when we start do things, we become aggressive that we don't want to do a lot other things, right? I'll make an example. Many people ask me, what diet are you on? You've been losing weight drastically. And I say, no, I'm not on any diet, and I'm not going to go on any diet. I don't believe in diets. And the reason is that because I believe in trying to balancing things out. Because when you are an extremist, or when you do things to the extreme and not sometimes try and balance them out, you end up losing. Like, for instance, with money, you will take all that 100K you have and put in investment and lose it all, right? Because you've just decided to be an extremist, right? But if you can take 80, put it in shares, the other 10 put it in unit trusts, the other ones put it in ETFs and stuff like that, so diversify who you are, diversify your investments, diversify where your money is, right? And then plan for your retirement. I know many of us think, you know what, I don't care, I'll see it ahead, but you don't want to be a problem. One of my biggest blessings is that my parents looked after themselves, that they still, okay, they're not too old, right? But they still strong enough to work. They're not bothering me. They're not expecting anything from me. They don't, actually, sometimes they even help me as their child. So it's important that you plan for your retirement so that you're not burdening people, right? You're not burdening people, right? And then also, as a person who invests, right, don't just put your money into investments or put your money into things, understand where your money goes. Understand the flow of your money. Understand who's who, right? Where is this money? How is it going to grow? Read books, go on YouTube, but don't just do things. Like right now, one of my biggest goals is understanding the flow of money. I've got a master's in banking law, right? I have said previously, guys, I love money. Like, yo, gerata chelet. I love money. So right now, I've taken myself to, if I'm going to be my own financial advisor, I must understand the flow of my own money. So I must put in an effort or invest in trying to understand what's going on. Where does that money come from? Where does it go to, right? And then you can plan in advance as early as possible. Then also, you're not a burden to your grandchildren, and you're not a burden to your children, and etc. And also, when you plan for your retirement, plan even your social life and all of that, because when you become older, some parents have this burden that they place on their children to say, hey, we want our children to look after us. When are they coming home? When they don't come home, they become upset. Plan for your life. Plan, you're going to go to church, you're going to do community things, because also retirement is such a place where it can be lonely, right? It can be very lonely. And then start a business, sell something. That's what he says. It's always important to sell. It's always important to sell. Then he talks about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, it's important to diversify your businesses, right? And then he says, whatever you do, give SARS their money. Give SARS their money. Guys, don't play with SARS. When SARS, listen, you can dodge SARS for years, but when they come, they take everything. So he tells us that it is very imperative that whatever you do, you're paying SARS accordingly, right? And then also he says one of the most important things before you even start savings. I didn't listen to that group because I was like, you know what, I still have debt, but I'm still putting my money into investments because I don't want to miss any more compounded interest, right? But I'm still trying to clear debt. Then he advises that one of the ways that you can clear your debt is for every increase you get or every extra money you get, don't utilize it, put it in the debt. That's money that's not on your budget, right? And then oh, guys, this book is good. I'm just like running through. I really enjoyed it. I learned quite a lot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try do like comprehensive short videos just explaining different aspects, because you guys, money conversations can be very tricky, right? And then he also says also it's important to stay away from property. Many people think property is an investment, but it's usually not, unless if you're buying the property, renting it out, paying it in advance, and etc. But it's important that you think it through. Don't just think, oh, I'm buying a property, I'm wealthy. No, it's not always an investment. And you know, it's crazy because when he said that, I was like, oh my goodness, all this time we're always judging people that buy cars. We're like, buy a house first, that's an investment and stuff like that. But not every house is an investment. Did you know? And then this book is so good, guys. It is so good. It is so good. And then in closing, one of the other important things he mentioned is that, okay, always know your investment options, do research, read up. I am going to be sharing going forward with you guys different investments that you can look at. And then also it's very important that you understand that money does impact relationships. One of the reasons for the highest rate of divorce is because of money. Money makes people separate. Money ends family relationships, romantic relationships, friendships. So it's always important that even in your dating, even, okay, friendships, you can get an accountability buddy where you guys save together, you help each other clear debt, not like literally, but you remind each other and all of that, right? But in terms of romantic relationships, always sit your partner down, discuss what's important, discuss what are the priorities currently, discuss where is what and where it's going to come from. It's important that you have money conversations with your partner. If you're not having money conversations with your partner, you're likely to end up frustrating one another because you're seated wherever you're seated thinking he's got money or he's thinking you've got money, and then you guys get to a place where both of you don't have money, both of you are frustrated, both of you are angry. But when you discuss your financial standing or have financial conversations or even have financial goals and plans and stuff like that, you're able to move with each other in a healthy manner, and you're able to say, okay, since we are at this place, how do we get to the next place? How do we even do better as a couple, right? And then another important thing he tells us about, he says it's important to have insurance. I concur. Guys, I need to insure one of my devices is not insured. Shucks. Ooh. Anyway, yes, it's important to have insurance. He highly recommends insurance. Insure your devices, insure everything. We live in a very weird country, so always ensure that you are insured, your cars, your vehicle, your vehicles, your devices, and everything, because it's really painful having to pay for something that you don't have anymore, but at least if you have insurance, then they're able to actually pay you out, and you continue paying as per usual, right? And then also here's the out of the book. This is the book, and I know he edits like all the time, so there might be a new edition, right? So last but not least, he says it's very important that you get professional help, especially where it gets overwhelming. Sometimes we think we know too much. Sometimes we think we can do it on our own. Make sure you get a financial advisor. That's if you have capacity or you can afford to have one. But if you can't afford to have one, be like me, read books, go on YouTube, have conversations with your friends. And like for me, what's beautiful right now, how I even got into investments, easy equities and stuff, it was because of the conversations I'm having with my friends and how we're encouraging one another and all of that. So make sure that you get this book, and tell me in the comment section, what are you doing to actually improve your finances? What are you doing to place your finances in a better condition? I will see you soon. Do not forget to be loved and light. God bless you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And don't forget to save that bag, because you don't know what tomorrow looks like. Or don't forget to even save for that holiday, because some people go on holiday on debt. We know that, right? But make sure that you're saving. Make sure that you're budgeting. And God bless you. Bye.